Hey everyone, we got some really good internet questions, so I figured I'd answer some of them here on video. It's a beautiful warm day here in southwestern Ohio. Michael Brown asks, they say the Naginata is strictly for women. Is this true, Shihan? The answer is no. The Naginata, which I'll attach a picture of, was a polearm weapon from ancient Japan. Think of a bow staff with a sword at the end of it, beautifully curved blade, a vicious battlefield weapon. It was adopted by a lot of women in Japan later on because it was a smaller polearm and it could be wielded. It definitely has some feminine qualities about it, but make no mistake, it was a vicious battlefield weapon that men and women used. You had to use what was available back then, so if a male or female had a Naginata, weapons don't know gender. We used the Naginata just last night outdoors in class. We had a class where we were using the Naginata against two swordsmen, two samurai coming at you, and obviously we worked on strategy, how to set your body up where you can move in the correct position, use one man against the other, almost like a chessboard, and also how to use this polearm with your entire body to slash through armor and deflect the swords and things like that. Naginata is a fantastic weapon, one of my favorites. I don't know statistics on how many lives it took on the battlefield. I know that the bow and arrow was first and then the spear was second. Probably Naginata was somewhere around there, and then the sword, which people think was the main weapon, was not. The sword took many lives as well. Of course, we weren't there, so history, remember, is written by the winners, so we weren't there. But the Naginata is a great weapon. Thanks for the question, Michael. Peter Cazaves writes, martial arts is expensive. I quit because I couldn't afford it. And then he writes an expletive. I couldn't afford it, yo. I couldn't afford the training. And that's true. Martial arts was considered a rich man's art way back in the day. Only those who were born into it, or were the sons or the nephews of someone, could study martial arts. Fortunately, nowadays you can go almost anywhere, at least in America and many other countries, you can find martial arts on almost every corner. Yes, the training is expensive, but is it? I would throw that back on the person writing. For me, when I was younger, I spent literally thousands, tens of thousands of dollars to travel around to train. We didn't have any dojos where I was of this particular Budo. They had Taekwondo and certain karates were around. But for me, money was never an object. It is not expensive for me to train. When I spend $1,000 on a seminar, for me it's nothing. Why? Because it's a priority to me. You have to ask yourself, what are you willing to spend the money on? If you're saying that the training is too expensive, clearly you're not putting the resources toward your training. I think that a mortgage is expensive and a car is expensive, and I have to pay those. They're necessary for me. But for my training, because it's so high on my list of priorities in my life, I'll gladly spend hundreds or thousands of dollars for training with my teachers. So to pay $60 a month somewhere, you're going to get $60 a month of training, and usually that's going to involve some sort of Taekwondo school. If you want to pay a lot more than that for a premium, you may have a better facility, a larger facility. There's a lot of overhead. Fortunately, our school is small. You may be paying for an instructor who has a lot more experience, or if you're paying a little bit a month, you may have someone who's in his 20s who doesn't know too much, who's trying his best but doesn't have a lot of experience. You might pay more of a premium. I pay more of a premium with my teachers because they're in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, and therefore they've made a name for themselves. I'll pay much more. That doesn't mean you're going to get bad training at $80 a month, but you almost always get what you pay for. If you want to go to a dojo, someplace where you can drop your kids off and they can have some fun, but they're really not learning any depth, that's what you're going to get for that type of money. If you're going to pay a premium, you'll probably have better training. Not always. But my advice to you, Peter, is save the money. If the training is important to you, you'll find a way. You'll take resources from other places. Might be shut off your cable or stop going out to dinner, whatever it might be. might be, you'll find the money to train if you really are passionate about it. To me, money was never an object. Money's easy to get. I got the money. I continue to get the money to train because it's that important to me. If smoking was really important, I would find the money for that. Drugs, alcohol, I would find the money to buy a six-pack or the next hit. But for me, it was martial arts, and that's what I continue to put my resources towards. All my life, I've done that. In the focus of your school's training in modern-day survival, why do you waste time on sword stuff when no one in the country is walking around with a sword? Bad guys carry guns these days. What is the cost of lessons monthly? This is from someone called Donald Trump, written one day ago. I don't think it's the real Donald Trump. He's probably busy. Yes, we do work on sword stuff, Donald. We also work on guns and knives and, of course, the vast majority on unarmed combat. Philosophy, strategy, how to use this stuff in the boardroom, how to use it at home. The reason we work with sword stuff is because working with weapons teaches you timing and distancing, and it really enhances your martial arts. I firmly believe you are not a well-rounded martial artist if you're not training with weapons. That's just a fact. I know guys that are really good at brute fighting. They're very strong, much stronger than me. You throw them a knife or a stick and they're clueless. They have no clue how to use them. Budo is the art of war, the art of survival, so we need to know how to use any object that's thrown at us, whether it's a cat-o'-nine tail that you cut, or the tripod of this camera, or a fist, or a cell phone, or a gun, or a sword. I need to know at least something, the basics, how to use everything, so that I'm not unprepared for battle. People that see us using swords and assume that's all we use are ignorant, and ignorant's not a bad word, it just means they don't know. But you're just seeing a small percentage of what we teach here. Some nights we film swords, some nights we don't film. Most nights we don't film. A lot of nights we're working with gun disarms or fighting, ground fighting, all kinds of things, but you're just seeing a small percentage. It's true, of course, people don't carry swords nowadays. Although you can Google, there are news stories about people killing each other with katana. But you have to know all types of weapons to be a rounded martial artist. It's really important. So don't limit what you see on film to what's really happening. Don writes, first time I've seen ninja doing Aikido. Yes, Budo incorporates Aikido. Aikido was invented in the 1800s by Ueshiba. And Kano with Judo, but these are all newer stems of the tree of Budo. A lot of techniques that we have incorporate techniques that look like Aikido, but they are techniques from Budo. Budo, remember, is a martial art that's very, very, very old. Hundreds and hundreds of years, some near 1,000. So you're going to see Aikido, which is just a rehashing of Budo, and same with Judo. And MMA now, any type of jiu-jitsu comes from the stem of Budo. Budo is the roots of the tree. These other arts are more modern adaptations. They're all wonderful, I love them all, but just know that they're branches farther up on the tree of martial arts. So yes, you'll see us using Aikido because there are principles in Budo. Shiho Nage, things like that. All of these are in Budo, they're just not taught a lot. I'll steal from anybody if the technique is good. I don't care what art you call it, what you label it. If it works on the street and it has an applicable application to it, I'll steal it and use it in our dojo. And I believe everyone should do that. Don't be so attached to authority figures, and don't be so stuck in dogma that you don't know how to adapt and take from others if you see value in it. Don't ever shut the door on other people's wisdom. There's so much out there. And I'm always watching videos on Aikido and Judo and MMA to learn new things that my teachers didn't know about. Good question, Don. Bujinkan Academy writes, great video and explanations. I really like how you break everything down. May I suggest that if the uke simulates a modern attack, that he isn't using ski, and by ski he means a straight punch. The typical modern attack is a jab, cross, or a hook haymaker, where the left foot stays in front the whole time. something to work on more than the traditional ski style punch. Keep up the videos. I'm really enjoying them. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for the question, Bujinkan Academy. It depends on what you're watching. If we're doing a classical class which involves armor-based techniques from 500-600 years ago, you will see a ski punch, because back then the hook punches wouldn't knock someone over in armor. However, 95, maybe even more percentage of the stuff that I teach and what we practice at our school is modern fighting. We haven't filmed it for you, but you'll see hooks and jabs all day long. It's actually refreshing when I can throw a ski punch, because I can go back into the old days. But the ski punch was designed to use your entire body behind it to knock over the samurai in armor so that you could kill him with your sword. A hook punch, you can imagine someone in full plate steel trying to give a hook punch or a body blow with bamboo or plate or lacquer or something. It's just not going to affect his balance. And the old style Koryu, the old style Budo techniques are designed to knock your opponent over, to take his balance on the battlefield, or to disrupt his balance in order to take him down and kill him with a weapon. They were not designed as sucker punches or lip splitters. They were designed to kill. I agree, the ski punch is not practical nowadays, but it does have application in certain techniques. I do see people that will throw a straight ski punch if the distance is far away. If you're close, no need, you can come in with a hook. But for this Bujinkan Academy, make sure that we all take the time to study every type of punch that's out there, not just one. Aaron from Florida writes, "You sometimes aren't wearing your belt in videos. Is this a tradition in your dojo?" Aaron, I stopped wearing my belt in 2006, 2007 because I was seeing some disturbing things in martial arts, and I just decided that a belt promotes ego. And for the last 10, 11 years now, I don't wear my belt in class, almost always. I wear an obi belt when I'm wearing weapons or if it's a special occasion. But other than that, all the black belts that I have in martial arts, I have stacks of black belts, but I don't wear them. I believe that they promote the ego, they intimidate, they tend to make you more of a show-off, and I just don't like that, so you'll often see me just wearing my gi without a belt. You know, they have a purpose, as does everything in martial arts, but I try to get away from the labels. A black belt is just someone who knows a bit more than other people, who has the foundations down, but I'm by no means finished learning or growing. So for me, when I take the belt off, I'm a student like everybody else. I don't separate myself. You can wear a black belt at your school, you can choose not to. I just choose not to, and it really does seem to remind me to stay loose and to stay open-minded to everything, because I'm still a student learning. So I don't wear a black belt very often. Daniela from Peru writes, "Do you practice modern defenses or just Koryu?" Yes, Daniela. Every week I teach about 22 classes that don't involve Koryu or old-style martial arts. They involve modern self-defense based off of old-style karate, ninjutsu, Budo. But the 22 classes per week we study are street stuff you're going to see all over the world. Hook punches, straight punches, chokes, grabs, ground fighting, newaza of all kinds, small daggers, someone with a shiv in a jail cell trying to get you, someone pulls out a stone and throws it at you. Anything we can practice, we do in our 22 or 25 classes per week. The other classes per week that I teach are the old style, and those are the ones you're going to tend to see being filmed. We don't film a lot of the modern classes because some of our students don't want to be on camera. A lot will have FBI agents, law enforcement, teachers, people who just don't want to be seen on YouTube. So we, out of respect to them, we don't film those classes. And often those classes are so loud and there's an audience watching and people are yelling and screaming and doing ki shouts and having fun, but it's too crowded for a camera to move around. We're not going to film a class where you can't hear what's going on. So almost always you'll see us filming small classes where I can speak and we can be heard. But yes, we practice modern defenses 98% of the time. Remy asks, do you teach meditation at your school? Yes. Not as a formal subject, but we do talks, philosophical talks between classes all the time, because without the mind part of training, you're really not training in martial arts. You're just doing the physical. That's only one half of the coin. You need the other side of the wing, which is how can I develop my mind? How can I use martial arts as strategy in my life? And if you don't talk about the problems that we all have in life, the difficulties, the obstacles, physical training is not going to do you much good at getting over those, because you can't punch your way through life. You have to think your way through life. And so we do teach meditation when we often have talks, whether it's with adult or kids, about bullying, about how do I handle sadness and depression, what if I'm feeling suicidal. We talk about social media all the time and the dangers of that. We talk about all kinds of different issues that we all encounter every single day. And this is what I believe is a full life-based martial arts. If your school is teaching the whole package, good for you. Wushu Richard writes, pure martial arts excellent. This is very good. I have subscribed. It is an honor to be subscribed as another true martial artist. I love this channel. I'm sick of the modern day ignorance like MMA and thug crap. This channel is pure gold, excellent skills and knowledge, etc. Don't say that MMA is crap. As soon as you say that other martial arts aren't good and this one you're watching is, you close your mind. Tried not to do that. All martial arts have their value. MMA is at its peak right now. It's really growing, and that's a wonderful thing. Since the Gracies in the 80s took over the MMA world, it's wonderful to see this new, this new section of martial arts coming up, and it's wonderful to see all my friends that do MMA. That doesn't mean what anyone else does is invalid. I'm not an MMA teacher. I have friends that do that. If they want to specialize in sport martial arts, they want to get in the ring and beat people up, I send them to my friends across town. I teach a different type of martial art. Yet MMA stuff is based off of old jiu-jitsu. It's all from Japan and China, all of this. So we have a lot of MMA techniques in our curriculum because they're effective and they work. However, you have to remember, as a self-defense martial art, getting on the ground with another person isn't as effective. The reason why is because of external sources. If I get into a fight and I go to the ground, you can't do a lot of MMA stuff on cement. You're going to be destroyed. And what if he has two brothers that come up from behind and my back is exposed? They're going to stomp on you. They're going to kill you. You have to be aware of everything. So battlefield peripheral vision is very different than when you focus on one person, and you have to have the intricacies of ground fighting. It has its place. It's a wonderful thing, and I love it. But in street fighting, you're not going to get me going down and trying to do a jujigatami when a guy can pull a knife out of his pocket and stab me 10 times because I wasn't aware of the rest of his body and where it was in space. And if I'm on the ground and his big brother comes and steps on me and stomps on me because I wasn't looking, because I was focused on the arm bar, I'm in trouble. Again, all of these martial arts have a wonderful place, and we should study them all and learn from them all, and we need to be brotherhood and sisterhood with all these martial arts. You never want to close and shut off one art over the other. It's really important to remember, and I could go on and on and on about this because I have many friends in martial arts, and the smartest and the wisest ones are the ones that are open-minded and they're friends with everybody. They don't burn bridges. They don't say my art is better than yours. They don't say my teacher's better than yours. They say, show me what you know. I love it. Can I use this? Can you teach me? Sensei, teach me. Onegai shimasu. Please help me out. That's what I believe martial arts should be about, is this core of brotherhood and sisterhood. We cannot be fighting each other. There's enough thugs and bad guys out there that I don't need to add to the mix. And there's enough negativity on the internet that we need more positive channels like this one in order to make sure that martial arts last. Because if we taint them enough and if we make them bad, people are going to lose interest and they're going to go on and do something else. And I don't want people to rely on technology to live life. Too many people are watching martial arts on YouTube and they're not going to their local gym or their local dojo and training. Too many people are becoming lazy. They're becoming watchers instead of doers. They're becoming so reliant on things to happen here and now that they don't want to put the time and effort into a school to earn their black belt. They'll come in for a month or a week or 2 months and then they quit because it's too hard. And yes, to train in martial arts is extremely hard. To earn your black belt is even harder. To stay after black belt and earn your further degrees is even more difficult. But do you want to be one of those people who just watches and doesn't do? Do you want to be one of those people who just sits and doesn't act? I don't. I don't. Unless you're physically hurt and stuck in a wheelchair or a bed or something, that's another whole story. But if you're able-minded and you can get out and you can afford it and you can get another job to go train, find a local school, find a local training club, find a teacher that lives in your neighborhood and learn martial arts. It is going to enhance your life. But don't rely on your cell phone and your computer for the joy and happiness that you can find in the moment training on the mat with friends. And on that note, I'm going back in to train because I have a full-time school to run. Thank you for your questions. We really appreciate them. Keep the comments coming. Hopefully you're training somewhere where you are, or you're thinking about it, but don't think about it, do it. Have fun in your training, be safe, make new friends, go to local schools that you're not involved in and just introduce yourself to the sensei. I just had a guy in my school yesterday, a high-level Taekwondo practitioner. We talked for 2 hours about his martial art and about Korea, where he's from, and I just absorbed it and I loved it. And he showed me a couple techniques I'm going to use tonight. Until next time, you guys have a great day. Have fun in your training and be safe. We'll see you soon.